I've been trading since COVID-19 started, which is 6 years ago, and I was unprofitable for the first 2.5 years, blowing multiple five figures of literally every single paycheck I earned. I had $0 in my bank account most of the time. And now here I am. I've gotten over $250,000 in payouts in the last couple of months alone. I've been live funded with multiple firms, and this week alone, I only traded 2 days, took home $10,000 both days for a $20,000 week. I'll put the proof up on the screen right here. I also show all the proof on my Instagram. But obviously, it wasn't always like this. I had to learn a lot of hard decisions that almost made me quit. But in the end, those failures are what led me to actually turning into a full-time and profitable trader. And one thing that I always wish I had is a trader that went through all that shit to tell me what to avoid and tell me what their failures were so that I can learn from them without having to lose all the money myself and go through the extra 2.5 years of just nonsense and unprofitability. And while most of my videos right now are mainly about charts, strategy, payouts, risk management, all that sort of stuff, I figured I'd make a video on all of these mistakes and failures that I made. So I picked out the 7 most important failures and mistakes that I made that I've learned from that you guys can take and hopefully use to turn you into a full-time profitable trader. Again, I went through all of this shit so that hopefully you guys don't have to. So let's go ahead and talk about the first lesson. Lesson number 1 is sticking to one specific asset and mastering that one specific asset. For me, when I first started trading, there wasn't even a lot of futures prop firms or futures trading creators. So I ended up starting to trade Forex and currency and a little bit of indexes. So that means I was trading a lot of Euro USD, CAD JPY. I want to throw a picture of my watch list up on the screen here, but it was literally CAD JPY, Euro USD, GBP USD, GBP JPY. I literally had probably 20 different Forex charts that I was looking at every single morning. And it was just absolutely cluttering what I was actually trying to look for, because what I thought I had in my head is, oh, okay, if there isn't a setup on, 5 of these assets, I can go look at the other 5, and odds are I might have an A+ setup on at least one of these. So why wouldn't I scan as many assets in the markets as I possibly could? There was a point where I was literally scanning stocks as well because I was trading options. So I was looking at every single stock in the Mag 7. I was looking at penny stocks and I was looking at Forex charts. When in reality, I went through about 6 months of that and realized I had only passed about 2 funded accounts. I had never gotten a payout, and I didn't know what the price action was going to look like on any asset. It was all mechanical strategy. I built none of my discretionary muscle, which now my strategy is still relatively mechanical, but I built that discretionary muscle up over the last couple of years. So I can generally know what's going to happen, whether we're going to wait to form an hourly fair value gap or whether we're going to tap into a 15-minute fair value gap. Just little things like that you pick up on over the years, building that discretionary muscle. So the first failure I learned from was looking at too many assets and too many charts at one time. What I would do is pick one asset and master it. That usually depends on where you live, but for everyone, Nasdaq or the S&P 500 is usually the best asset to master within futures and prop firm trading. The second failure was constantly switching strategies as well. Now, for me, I used to try and look at order flow. I tried to trade supply and demand. That was kind of my main thing as I was starting off. And I eventually found ICT concepts. I went through all the ICT playlist, and I ended up either switching strategies or just combining too many things on the chart. So supply and demand wouldn't work for a week. I would go and switch to support and resistance. That wouldn't work. I'd go and flip straight to EMAs, MACDs, volume profiles, and then, oh, that didn't work for a month. I'm going to go switch to ICT concepts. When all that was really doing is just killing the amount of time it took for me to turn profitable and just extending that. Because what you really should be doing, same as assets, is focusing on one strategy and mastering it to turn profitable with only one thing. More does not equal better in trading like it might equal in other business models. You want to keep your process very simplified and really just focus on mastering one thing. Because what I learned throughout the years as well, just meeting a ton of different people, I have a lot of friends that are profitable with completely other strategies. I have friends that are profitable with EMAs, regressions, volume profiles, order flow. I have supply and demand traders who are profitable. I have a ton of breakout traders who are profitable. and most of all, a lot of ICT SMC traders who are deeply, deeply profitable. But all of us full-time traders never make a video about, oh, ICT equals I can't trade, or oh, if you trade supply and demand, you are unprofitable because my strategy works and that strategy doesn't. The matter of the fact is, all of these strategies work. You just have to find one that's very simple for you to understand, okay? For supply and demand, it made it really hard for me to turn profitable because it wasn't really time-based. It was kind of just, oh, whenever we tap into this supply and demand zone, we're going to take a short or a long out of it. I didn't have enough market narrative, and really there wasn't like enough steps in the entry model for me. It felt way, way, way too discretionary, and I just couldn't operate like that. So obviously I turned profitable with ICT concepts, specifically Power of Three, but sticking to one thing is what is going to turn you profitable. One strategy, one asset. So I've selected the 5 most important lessons and failures that I learned throughout my years of trading. So hopefully you guys can learn from these mistakes. Mistake number 3 was being a lazy fuck with my journaling and my data tracking, okay? I used to basically get upset when I would lose a trade or when I had a blow up day and I broke my rules, and I just wouldn't put it in my journal because I'm like, oh, I just want to erase this out of my brain. If I can erase this out of my head and just move on and not journal and not be upset over it, basically just not dwell on the decision, then I'm going to go into tomorrow with a clear head. But what that was really doing is, yeah, it took it out of my head, but I would eventually forget the mistake that I made, and I wouldn't have the data to know what is right and what is wrong. I was just continuing to trade this random jumble of ICT concepts month over month, and I wouldn't actually know if I was profitable, okay? I would have half a journal, I would have the first 7 days of a month, and then I would have nothing. So I would end the month of, say, June and be like, okay, shit, I don't even know if I was profitable. Like, obviously I blew my funded accounts, but I didn't know if my P&L was green, okay? So one thing that I did is I turned off my P&L for a month, and all I cared about is following my process and tracking my data every single day. I changed my chart to ticks. I didn't look at the dollar amount at all. I just tracked all of my data and made sure I just followed my rules for 30 days straight. What do you know? My P&L was green when I turned it back on after the month was over, and I actually knew why I was green. And I went into the losing days and cut out the bad, because a couple of the losing days, I went back tested and I saw, oh, okay, there's some mistakes here. Also, as far as data tracking goes, I was able to find little things here and there to improve my win rate or my risk to reward. For example, I used to trade Mondays. I did end up being profitable and getting payouts when I did trade Mondays. However, I looked at my win rate. I'm like, okay, I'm paying the bills, right? But I'm not doing anything significant. This isn't life-changing. So I looked at my win rate, and on Mondays, it was significantly lower than every other single day. So I did some digging. I'm like, okay, so looking at the weekly profile, Mondays typically kind of consolidate before we put in higher low of the week. There's not really any news on Mondays. So lower win rate on Monday over a long period of time. I just cut out Mondays. I haven't traded Mondays in about a year and a half, almost 2 years now, and my win rate is wildly higher. It actually increased by an over 15% since I started doing that. So don't be a lazy bitch with data tracking or journaling, because I guarantee half of you guys don't even know if you're profitable. You might be a good trader and not even know it. So track your data, make sure you're profitable, and then review and refine. The 4th lesson is always trading for tomorrow. Now, what does this mean? Okay, this means setting yourself up with the decisions you make today to go into tomorrow and potentially have a good day, okay? This helps a lot with FOMO, greed, overtrading, revenge trading, all that sort of stuff. I would always constantly just have a bad day, and I'd let it ruin my entire month. I would take a loss, I'd be upset over it, I'd overtrade, and next thing you know, my P&L calendar, $500 winning days, a ton of them, and then boom, $1,800 losing day. Wipes out my accounts, just ruins my month because of one bad day. That's because I was trying to fix my mistake in that day. Even if it was a mistake or just not, I was trying to fix that loss within the day. So what I started doing is I started thinking of tomorrow and realizing the market's not going anywhere, okay? More than likely, if I take a loss, I'm probably going to get a better trade tomorrow instead of just forcing one today and in this session. So that's what I started to do. I tried to trade for tomorrow. If I took a loss, I'm going to be like, okay, tomorrow, am I going to have to trade evals for the next week or the next month because I blew all my accounts? Or am I going to take a little loss and go into tomorrow and still have my 5 PA accounts that I want to trade? And that's what I started doing, is I just stopped revenge trading and overtrading because I started to trade for tomorrow, in the next week, in the next month. You guys have to realize, again, the market is not going anywhere. It was here before you're born. It's going to be here after you die. So why wouldn't you be picky with the trades you're taking? The fifth and final and arguably most important lesson that I learned was how to trade prop firms correctly. I was trading them extremely incorrectly. I trade the 4-hour power 3. The win rate is relatively high. Depending on market conditions, risk to reward can also vary. So I was generally taking my base hits. I was 1-to-1, 1-to-2, sometimes 1-to-3 or 1-to-4. Okay. And I would be profitable doing that. My system was very easy, very repeatable. I had learned a good amount of the other lessons. So I'm like, okay, why aren't I making a ton of money? Why am I still blowing accounts sometimes? Okay. And what would happen is there's one week where I was up, I'd be down, up, down, up, down. And I was kind of just in this never ending cycle of being profitable one week and unprofitable the next, or just taking way too long to pass my evaluations. It would take me a month sometimes to even get a small payout. And I was confused. I was like, what's happening? I have to be trading these prop firms incorrectly. And lo and behold, I was a profitable trader. I had a ton of months of profitable data, but I just didn't know what I was doing with prop firms. I thought 1% risk per day, 1 trade per day, just standard rules, right? Which isn't bad for a live account. I still do that stuff with my live account with a little bit of different risk allocation. I'm a lot pickier on my live account. But my return is not nearly as high as it is with prop firms because I started treating prop firms like a portfolio and not a lottery ticket. I started diversifying my accounts. So I would think in terms of risk to reward and eval spend to payout ratio. If I go and spend $500 to $1,000 on evaluations, get 5 accounts, I'm likely going to get $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 in payouts from that account group alone. That's a ridiculous risk to reward. That's like a 30 risk to reward on average with eval spend to payout ratio. So that's what I started to do. I started to be more aggressive with my evaluations accounts, and I started to allocate different risk profiles to different accounts, okay? Different trade frequency to different accounts, and really just data testing a whole bunch of different shit, keeping it diversified like a portfolio, but like an aggressive portfolio, okay? So what I would do is I would allocate an aggressive account, 1 or 2 accounts to be aggressive with my sizing. I would allocate myself like 3 losses until the account was blown. On other accounts, I would copy trade a couple together, keep them very passive, trade them like I was trading normally, okay? And I would also have trades where I only have one account where I take the first trade of the day, and then if I do take a second trade, I switch to the other account. So on days where I used to be break even with 2 trades, a win and a loss, now I was taking a payout on those days because I was down on one account, but I was up $2,000 on the other account I took the second trade on. Now, I'm not going to take 4 hours to go through my entire prop firm risk management portfolio allocation, but I'm just telling you, diversification is what helped me. Through all these lessons and payouts that I've gotten throughout the years, obviously I've been able to also help hundreds of people reach 5 figures a month or higher in payouts to their bank with prop firms through trading a simple strategy, which is my PO3, and pairing it with treating prop firms like more of a risk portfolio. Dan sending me 28K payouts from his live account after he got live funded with a firm, which is again a 0.1% trader. Jay, who is a top 100 trader at Apex, $60,000 months. Again, me and my students are record-breaking traders. We're not just average traders making 1 to 2K a month. That's why I only take on a very small amount of students at a time. However, I am doing a case study starting this month with 10 new students. I'm trying to build my biggest case study ever where I'm taking 10 people to over multiple 6 figures in payouts. So if you are interested in applying, we're looking at applications very seriously. I'm not going to take someone who is a complete beginner, or I don't think that I can turn them profitable. They don't seem like they did well in the interview. I'm not going to take on that person. I'm only taking on people who actually do have real market experience already, but are still break even or unprofitable. So that's you. You can go ahead and apply. And again, be serious in the interview if you actually want a shot. We are guaranteeing 10K in payouts for literally every single student. I'm putting my money where my mouth is and my reputation where my mouth is with this case study. But again, hopefully you guys got a lot of value out of this video and just the lessons I've learned throughout the years. I thought this was a very helpful video to make aside from all the normal prop firm trading strategy kind of stuff. This is what's really important to your guys' journey, because if you do want to go full time, you are going to have to fail and you're going to have to learn how to fail correctly, meaning you learn from them. So That's what I've done. Hopefully this video was a great watch. All I ask in return is that you guys might like and subscribe. With that being said, I'm going to go hit the beach and see you guys in the next video.